Hi, Dasha.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can't hear you though.
Now, am I audible?
I can't hear you.
Now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah. I have sent the invitation link.
Okay.
You personally message them.
There is an interruption in the network.
Yeah. Personally messaging them.
Okay, okay. Can you see me and hear me properly?
Yeah. Me?
Okay. Yes. How are you?
एकदम बढ़िया. तुम बताओ.
बस हम भी बढ़िया.
कैसा चल रहा है सब कुछ?
चल ही रहा है. आपका?
बिल्कुल. There is some network issue from ma'am's side.
have have they seen your messages? Ma'am and sir have joined. नमस्ते सर.
Yeah.
We will be starting with the live very soon, just when Ma'am and Sir joins us. I request all the viewers who have joined to stay on the live. We are just waiting for Ma'am and Sir to join us.
Namaste,
Namaste,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Hey, sorry for being late. I'm not that much used to this Insta, so I will take some time for getting connected. I'm really sorry. I apologize for my delay.
No problem, ma'am.
No, ma'am, no problem at all.
So sorry. That is not visible.
Okay. Yeah. I hope he will join.
So, welcome to and namaste to everyone. And, this is the episode 5. So, before that, myself, Sangeeta Singh from Bhopal and Ritash from Bihar. We both
Your
welcome guest speaker.
your audio is little bit interrupted to me. I don't know whether
I'm now.
is it possible for all? Then no problem.
Yeah, not audible, ma'am. Am I audible to everyone?
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay. So, myself, Sangeeta Singh and Ritasha from Haridwar. Both welcome our guest speaker, Dr. Rajkumar sir, Dr. Ramya Gupta ma'am. Dr. Rajkumar sir, HOD and Associate Professor of Yoga Nidana Department, Government of Puducherry, Maharashtra. Dr. Prabha Ghosh ma'am, Associate Professor and HOD of Yoga Nidana Department, Government of Puducherry and Maharashtra. So, am I audible?
Little bit.
There is slight interference in the audio.
Yeah,
It's becoming feeble in between.
no problem. You proceed. We'll see.
Now?
Yeah, it's audible.
Yeah, it's audible.
Yeah. So in last episode, we have seen that we have covered the leftover portion of Rasha Shastra, and briefly we have discussed the Roga Nidana significance in EMS curriculum, right? So in order to proceed today's episode, we will just briefly tell me whatever happened in episode. So uh, the leftover portion of Rasha Shastra, in that one question was Alpamatra Upyogitvat. So is it limited to Rasha Shastra only? With that, Mammon sir has clarified that medicine acts by Virya. So we need not give so much importance, so much medicine to act on Vyadhi Virya. When Virya is correct, Pathya is correct, very small dose of medicine is required in that crucial environment to disease. When medicine is applied in right dose, right time, according to state and stage of the patient, very less quantity is required, and that can also be done with herbal medicine. And the second question was that na roganam na dushyanam na cha potam parikshana na deshasya na kalachari rasa chisa. In this shlok, it is told that there is no need to consider the host. But it is clearly mentioned in Navajwara that certain medicines are mentioned. Our status is applicable to Dwara. Different avastha is also mentioned. It can be given importance because even Vimala Vipula Buddhi can get confused. So acharyas are telling to specifically go through all the analysis. Shlok is moreover talking on the particular context of Vyadhi Viprita. Because in next sloka, Acharya is explaining that is rasa good for Vatic and Pathik make above shloka invalid. So context of every shloka matters, can't be applied anytime, anywhere. So that Rasha Shastra leftover portion was covered, and with that Roga Nidana started. With that, sir, ma'am has concluded that Vyadhi is clinical diagnosis and not lab diagnosis. We are identifying extrinsic cause, intrinsic cause, and then mechanism. So, cause, mechanism, effect is established with diagnosis. Ayurvedic diagnosis is not so directly with one symptoms concluding one disease is wrong. Ayurveda approach so many functions are brought under one vayu, for example, with same treatment that can be corrected. We are identifying it with external factor, internal factor, mechanism is the main. Thus, it can be understood with modern biology, physiology, pathophysiology also. We can decipher proper system prapti should be along with accidental and cause and the mechanism. So, for example, sir has told that Griddasi is wrong. Vata Griddasi is correct. Sama Vata Griddasi is correct. Kapha Avrita Griddasi is correct. So, everything based on cause and diagnosis. So, rest briefing will be by Ritasha.
The other question that we discussed in the previous segment was that in present day colleges, in bedside examination, why do we use modern examination parameters like inspection, percussion, auscultation, etc.? And if it is so, then why can't we interpret it through Ayurvedic science? And we concluded that, for instance, if we have loose motion, we cannot directly make a diagnosis of Atisara. And just as if we have high temperature, we cannot diagnose it directly as Jwar. Through this example, sir said that first we need to identify the cause-effects mechanism. Along with that, the proper Roga diagnosis is to be done through Nidana, Pragarupa, Lakshan and Upshay and Samprapti. And with this, we should also know the strength of the patient, the strength of the disease, and eventually by looking into all these Ayurvedic parameters, we need to make a proper diagnosis. And the next question that we discussed was why are lab practicals in Roga Nidana? Why are we learning the procedures of estimation of hemoglobin and count of WBC or RBC? Is it essential? Should we be doing this? So we concluded that knowing the procedure is fine, but the most important part is the interpretation. So in Roga Nidana lab classes, instead of knowing the procedure, more emphasis should be given on how to interpret the lab values and the impressions that we get to make how they can be useful in the diagnosis of any Vyadhi. And the last question that we discussed in the previous session was that how we can diagnose any new emerging disease. So in Samhitas it is clearly mentioned that the naming is done only to understand the Samprapti. So if there is a new disease, so we can identify the external factors and its functioning inside the body and how the dosha will be functioning, which lakshans will be present. We can observe the state of the dosha along with the lakshans and with what all changes are happening inside our body. And likewise, we can follow the treatment principle and the mechanisms. So this was the short brief of our previous session. So Sangeeta, I saw in the previous sessions, Saran ma'am and us all together, we discussed about the Yukti, Roga Nidana and Dravyagun, and ma'am and sir beautifully elaborated and clarified all our questions. And similarly, our acharyas have done the same. So, Charaka Acharya in Sutra Sthan, first chapter, Dirgha Jivityam Adhyayam, mentions the importance of Aushadhi and the Chikitsak. So, in this shloka, Aushadhi Nama Rupabhyam Janate hi Sajapavana Avipashchaiva Gopascha Ye cha Anye Vanvasana. the Acharya mentions that the tribal people who roam around with their herds, they know the morphology and name of the Aushadhi. Then in the other shloka, na nama jnana matren, rupa jnanen va punaha, Aushadhinam param praptim, kaschit veditum aharati. The Acharya mentions that improper knowledge about Aushadhi is not enough. Merely knowing the name of the Aushadhi and not knowing the application will not do any good.
Yeah, exactly. So, what is the importance of application? Acharya Charaka is explaining that in next shloka, yoga vidhu api arupagya tasam tadvid uchyate kim punarayo janiya aushadhiya sarvata vishak. One who knows the principle of application of dravya is known to be tadvid. And if they know nama rupa guna, they are the best. So how to apply? Acharya Charaka is mentioning yoga masam tu yo vidyat deshakala upaditam purusham vikshaya saha. So Bishak who do the pariksha of every patient like on the basis according to desh and kala means according to state and stage of the disease and disease person and choose medicine accordingly to the state and stage of that patient is that bishop is known to be Uttama.
Yes. Next, Acharya also says that Tatha Visham Yatha Shastram Yatha Agnihi Ashanihi Yatha Tatha Aushadam Avigyatam Amritam Yatha. Here, Acharya explains that if we don't know the proper knowledge of any Aushadhi, that Aushadhi can be very much fatal to an individual. Just like a wish, Agni or Indra Vajra or Shastra can prove fatal to individuals. And likewise, if we know the proper information of any Aushadhi, if we know proper knowledge, that same Aushadhi can also be Amrit to us. And in the next shloka, Aushadam hi anabhigyatam nama rupa gudhe tribhihi vigyatam cha api duryuktam anartha uppadyate. Acharya says that not just knowing the name, morphology, mode of action is never enough. One should also know the mode of application and the treatment principles and application principles of the dravya. So with this, we'd like to start this today's live session. And sir, may I ask you the first question?
Also, with that, not only that, Acharya Charaka is concluding this also. Acharya Charaka is telling that yogat api visham tikshnam uttamam bhesham bhavet bheshajam cha api duryuktam sampadate visham tasman na bhishagyah yuktam iti bahayena bheshajam mata nichit adyam jivita arogya kanchi. If a potent dish is also used in right state and of the disease, it can act as a superior medicine. But if a superior medicine is also not using the right state and stage of the patient, it can act like a poison. So, for a healthy life and disease-free life, the patient should go to the doctor who have the fine knowledge of application of the principle. So, with that, Acharya Charaka is concluding the conversation and explaining the importance of Aushad Chikitsak, and with that, how like that the term yukti has came here. So it is not like your yukti and my yukti. Acharya Charaka is telling that on the basis of this principle, you have to, like Shastra Sahit Tarka, you have to do the treatment of the patient.
So, sir, with this, we'd like to start with our questionnaire. So, sir, may I ask you the first question now?
Yeah.
So, sir, like in our syllabus, the diseases are taught on the basis of strotas wise. There is categorization of strotas wise. Like all the Vata Vyadhi are mentioned in Majjava strotas, under Majjava strotas. So, sir, is this the correct way of teaching?
Yeah, we can learn systematically with srotas, but incorporating something in something or in one srotas forcefully is not the apt way, because srotas is various systems. Majjavaha Srotas is having a specific function, which is the function of Majja, Puranam, or it imparts Bela, Sneha, or uh, it has specific functions. So Majjavaha Srotas Moolasthana also mentioned, which is Sandhi, Astini Moolam Sandhescha. So it has got specific functions. Certain organs are mentioned for that purpose, and manifestation of diseases happen in such things. But Vatavaha Srotas is entirely different concept. So Vatavaha Srotas, through which the functions of Vata are important. Majjavaha Srotas, through which functions of Majja is imparted. So it cannot be imparted in Majjavaha Srotas. That will produce so many confusions. Like if Ardhida is mentioned, only Ardhida is mentioned, or Ardhida is correlated with Bell's palsy. So Ardhida is entirely a Vatavaha Sroto Dushti Roga. Vatavaha Srotas is not exactly mentioned in the signs, but there are mentioning of Doshavaha Srotas. So Vatavaha Srotas, the fluid system in the body is maintained by Vatavaha Srotas. Fluid system is Kapavaha Srotas and Pittavaha Srotas also, that Agni, hormonal activities, endocrine mechanisms, all these come under Pittavaha Srotas. So Pittavaha Srotas, Vatavaha Srotas, Kapavaha Srotas, all these are to be separately mentioned. But Vata Vyadhi is only mentioned, and it cannot be forcefully incorporated in Majjavaha Srotas because the functions of Vata is entirely different from Majja. Vata has so many generalized functions like Dosha, Tattvakni, Samatam, Sampraptim, Visheshu cha, Kriyanam, Anilomyam cha, Karotyakupito Anilaha. So it produces homeostasis of fluid system in the body. Dosha, Dhatu, Agni, Samadha. Balance of doshas and dhatus and Agni is maintained by Vayu. Samprapti Visheshucha, all the perceptions, all the Indriya activities, and Kriyana Manilomium, all the functioning with ease is Kriyana Manilomium, Karot Yakupito Anila. So all these activities which are made for homeostasis, for uh, perceptions, for all the motor or autonomic nervous system activities, all these are done through Vatavaha Srotas. So it is entirely different from Majjavaha Srotas. And if you learn something as something, like Ardhida is correlated with Bell's palsy. So Ardhida is a term, it's used for so many conditions. It's not limited to one motor system affliction or facial nerve affliction. Only the facial nerve, that too, one part is only mentioned as Bell's palsy. It has got so many. Jatrorurthvam Ruja Tivra. So severe pain above neck. So it can be affliction of trigeminal nerve, Shruti Hani, Ksavagraha. It can be affliction of auditory nerve. It can be affliction of all the nerves, cranial nerves. Not only sensory, but motor also, or parasympathetic affliction. What all nerves which are supplying above neck. All these afflictions can be taken as Ardhita. So Ardhita is not limited to motor dysfunction of above neck. It can be any cranial nerve affliction. Likewise, Pakshaghata is not motor system affliction. It can be Syad Akarmanyo Vichetana. So it can be motor system affliction or sensory system affliction, which can cause sensory loss or sensory dysfunction. So all these are Vatavaha Sroto functioning. So Vatavaha Srotas should be considered separately, and considering Vata Vyadhis means Vyadhis developing due to Vata. So such diseases, when incorporated in Majjavaha Srotas, students will be in confusion. So students will be having a picture that whenever Vatavaha Srotas is afflicted, it is afflicting Majjavaha Srotas also, it is afflicting Asti also, it is afflicting Sandhi also. Such picture is developed. Such impression should not develop, and Vatavaha Srotas is diseases, means Vata Vyadhis are diseases due to Vata. So such diseases are to be considered separately, as Acharyas have given separate importance to Vata Vyadhis alone, not Kapha Nanatmaja Vyadhis or Pitta Nanatmaja Vyadhis are not given this much importance. or it is not mentioned as a separate chapter. So Vata Vyadhis cannot be included in Majjavaha Srotas because they are systems. System will be having organs, tissues, various cells for their functioning. And the functioning is for a specific purpose, which is Puranam, Asti Puranam, or Sneha and Bela. But Vadavaha Srotas functioning is entirely different, which is Dosha Dhatvatmi Samadham, Sampraptim Visheshu, Kriyana Manulomim. Motor system functioning, sensory system functioning, also maintenance of homeostasis of fluid system in the body. So all these come under Vadavaha Srotas. So Majjavaha Srotas is entirely different from Vadavaha Srotas and Vadavyadhis. So Vadavyadhi is wide range of diseases which consists of this homeostatic mechanisms, sensory system, motor system. So that sort of syllabus itself should be updated, or it should be changed completely. Then only the intention to learn Vadavyadhis will be fulfilled or accomplished. Yeah.
Ma'am, thank you, sir. Ma'am, would you like to add something?
I think it is very much complete what he said. I am also getting so many from that. I think this point. If you have any questions further, you may ask.
Yeah.
Go to
So,
next.
sir, in last episode, in previous episode, ma'am has told one shlok. बुद्धि स्थान क्षया अवस्था रोगाणाम उपलक्ष्यते सुसूक्ष्मापि च प्रज्ञो देह अग्नि बल चेतसां व्याधि अवस्था विशेषणाहि ज्ञात्वा ज्ञात्वा विचक्षणा तस्याम अवस्थायां चतुश्रेय प्रपद्यते. So ma'am has told that this is missing in Roga Nidana. So sir, what is the significance of this?
So most important thing is when we are identifying a roga, that too with a dosha, we need to identify with its status also, state also. State and stage of the disease both are equally important. That in case of Sama dosha, initially it will be Sama, then in Jwara it will be undergoing Pachyamana avasa. Later it will be Pakwa avasa or Nirama avasa. So there is Sama Jwara, Pachyamana Jwara, Nirama Jwara. There are various stages. So that means a disease will not be one and the same throughout its development. After development, it will not be continuously stable. Pathogenesis will be continuously changing. A disease develops when homeostasis is disturbed. Homeostasis is fluid system, and when it gets disturbed, metabolism is controlling the homeostatic mechanism. By metabolism, necessary energy resource will be produced, nutrition will be supplied, and energy utilization will happen, and excretion and absorption will happen. All these develop due to metabolism, and there is a range so that it can adjust. Homeostasis can be adjusted. This fluid system homeostasis, each and every cell is surrounded by a fluid environment. So the general environment is made up of fluid system. So that fluid system homeostasis can be maintained with metabolism up to a certain extent. So if it exceeds, if one is habituating unwholesome things for a longer period, that adjustment will be lost, that adaptation will be lost, and development of an intrinsic factor takes place. Intrinsic factor is which can cause degenerative change, or which can cause excess nourishment, or which can cause metabolic disorders. Such an intrinsic factor develops in the circulation, which is generalized increase. And if there is a susceptibility in any system, which is technically termed as Kavaigunya, disease develops in that system. So disease can develop in any system, but where there is susceptibility for a disease, this intrinsic factor gets lodged there and produces a set of changes. Tissue functioning, organ functioning, which is termed as Sroto Dushti. So this intrinsic factor producing certain lakshanas along with the disease, or modulating the disease manifestation is termed as Roga in Ayurveda. So in the initial phase, if inflammation is there, so the samprapti or the pathogenesis will be of a specific type, and it undergoes changes every hour. It is told as muhurtam. Muhurtam is 48 minutes, or within an hour there will be change in the pathogenesis. When we are giving the treatment, every hour there will be changes. So SPEBS says that we need to get the result within 24 hours. Immediately after taking the medicine starts acting with virya, and if it is correct medicine, it will be acting exactly against the target, and we will be getting the result from the first hour itself. So that's what Acharyas say, that Vyati Avastha Visheshajna. Vyati Avastha is very important, and as homeostatic mechanisms will be changing, metabolism will try to correct the pathogenesis. So it will be changing every hour. So when we are giving the right treatment, it will be getting changed in the positive way. And if wrong things are done, it will be getting more and more deeper and more serious condition every hour. So once we are identifying a disease, you cannot take it for granted that this pathogenesis will be throughout the disease. So every hour we have to check the patient, or every day we can assess the patient. And Acharyas also have said that Saptahena Gunalape Kriya Manyam Prayojit. So within 7 days, if you are not getting the intended result, you have to think of changing the principles and other things. So most important thing is Vyatya Avastha is very important along with the diagnosis. Once you are diagnosing, whether it is Vadik Jwara, if we are diagnosing also, it can be Samavadaja or Niramavadaja, or it can be by, as in other diseases which is mentioned, Kapavrta Vata, Kapavrta Samavada, Kapavrta Niramavada, etc. Various conditions mentioned. So based on those stages, we need to change the treatment principle also, because we are doing everything naturally. When we are trying to normalize the homeostatic mechanism naturally, we need to assess the stage of the disease, and we need to modify the treatment principle according to the stage. So Vyati Avastha is truly very, very important, and it is missing in nowadays practice.
Thank you, sir. Sir, from last episode, there was 2 questions. The first question was, is it necessary to study all the disease mentioned in Roga Nidana syllabus, or we need only understand 8 chapters of Charak Nidana Sthana to understand all?
Actually, 8 chapters and all chapters. When we are learning, it's not necessary that we should get all these patients in our practice. When we are learning Jwara, we are learning 8 types of Jwara, and again classification is there. So Malakala, Bala, Abalat, it is classified into Sandada, Sadada, Anyedyu, Tridiyaka, Chaturthaga. Or Agandu Jwara is of Apijara, Apishapa, Shap, Apikhada, Apishanga. So many classifications are there. So all the possible developments, all the possibilities are mentioned in our science. That doesn't mean that all these will develop. There are 13 types of Sannipada Jwara. That doesn't mean that we will get in clinics all these 13 types of Sannipada Jwara. We may or may not get Sannipada Jwara also. But when we are learning, the most ideal thing is to be learned. Right? When we are learning Jwara, what all are the possible causes of Jwara? What all are the possible mechanisms of Jwara? What all are the possible Viti Sampraptis? Like Panchavita Jwara or Vivitha classification, Sama, Nirama, Sathya, Asathya, Andar, Behi. So Prakrita, Vaikrita, such classification is also mentioned. We may not get all these things. And finally, the last stage even, Hedubir Bahubir Jado, Belibir Bahulakshana, Simandakrit Jwaraha is Asatya. So we may not get all these conditions in clinics, but all these conditions, all the possible conditions with which a fever, a Jwara can develop. Jwara is not just rising temperature, is we have definition, specific definition for that. So all these conditions are mentioned for our intelligence and for our understanding. When we are learning Gulma, we may not get Gulma even. Or when we are learning Vidrati or Andar Visarpa, we may not get in our practice. But we need to understand the different pathologies that can develop. So it is 100% updated. There cannot be another type of Visarpa or another type of Jwara or another type of Kasa. Everything which is developing nowadays with the basics and with the basic pathologies, 5 different kinds of sampraptis, Acharyas have explained it completely. So when we are learning, we should not skip certain things and learn the remaining things. We may get pass marks, but that is not enough for our intelligence. We need to culture our intelligence. For that, first we need to learn the Shastra. Then Smrutiman Hedu Yuktityo Jidatma Pratipattiman Pisha Gaushada Samyogi Chikalsam Kartumarkati. So first we have to learn, then only we will be getting Smriti. So basic thing is we need to understand the science fully and what all are needed in the clinics, that we have to apply it according to the status. That is what is meant with learning all these things.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, there was another question from the previous which was left out. So, sir, do doctors who treat patients and who teach students, do they need to be ragarahit and rogarahit in order to impart the right knowledge and in order to make a correct diagnosis?
Dr. Ramya will start.
That we are learning Ashtanga, we are starting with the prayer Yaga, Adiroga, Asheshvaya, is it not? So we are starting to Apurva Vaidya and starting this, and every context, wherever how ideas are, how faculties are to be, how learning is to be, it's explained systematically in all the grades, as well as Ashtanga Sangraha is explaining very systematically what are the qualities required for a bishop, what are the qualities required for the faculty in Ayurveda, what are the faculty, what are the required for the student. It is like explained so vast subject. So Raga, Moha, all the Dhaniya Vegas, they have to be controlled. What if it is by a professional means who has,
I'm sorry
yeah.
to interrupt, but your voice is breaking.
Is it better?
Yeah, ma'am.
So
Yeah.
professional means are there, and jnana should,
Still breaking. I request everybody.
is it clear now? I'm not sure because we are using the same net. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am, now it is.
So two things are there. One is jnana and vijnana for a faculty, which is very compulsory. The faculty should constantly practice Shastra Artha Karmanushīlanena Samskarveda Prajñam. Ashtanga Sangraha, Bheshaja Avajaraniya, 23rd chapter. Shastra Artha Karmanushīlanena Samskurveda Prajñam. It is a habit. It's not like one day program. It has to be a habit for every physician to constantly culture their intelligence in Shastrartha. So when one is completely dedicating his intelligence to learn Shastra Arthas and apply it in their practice or implement it in their practice, naturally their character is also intended to be cultured. Naturally it happens, it follows, because when we are dedicated to learning, when we are dedicated to practice what we learn, naturally whenever intelligence gets cultured, intelligence is a part of our character, buddhi is a part of our character, definitely our character also gets refined positively. We feel more attitude and aptitude towards shastra learning. We feel more compassion towards whatever whoever are there with us, whether it be students or whether it be patients or whether it be relatives, whoever it is, family, whoever it is, we feel more compassion and love towards them. Natural, it is a natural instinct. That is what the value of quality education is, because vritti ubayer nisheveda yesyur dharma avirodhina shamam adhyanam cheva sukhaya eva nishevade. Acharya says, what kind of profession you have to choose. Vritti means profession. Yes, your dharma avirodhina. It should not be contradictory to dharma. Whatever profession you are choosing in your life, it should not be contradictory to the dharma values, positive values. Dharma means we know what is dharma. What we wish for ourselves should happen in others also. That feeling is called dharma. So, yes, your dharma avirodhina shamam. It should give you peace of mind. Wherever negative qualities sit in, like jealousy sits in, or ego, or what you call pride, whatever it is, that our negative emotions are because of what? It will lose one's loss of peace also, peace of mind also, it will lead to. So shamam is very important, whatever you are doing. That's why Acharya told, Hedor irshet bhale natu. When somebody is doing well in knowledge and practice, don't get jealous of them. What you have to do, analyze the cause behind their actions, why they are able to do this, why they are able to succeed in their life, what they are doing to what, how they are culturing their life in order to accomplish that success. That's why many people are attending motivation talks. What these motivation speakers are doing, they are telling their experiences and steps, what they have done in their lives to inspire others also. It's not like you have to copy them. You are just imbibing that positive spirit, positive culture, and positive character. How to cultivate that? That's what is happening. So, Shamam is happening by hard work. Shamam is happening by dharma only. Shamam adhyanam seva, Acharya says. Adhyana, continuous learning. It's not necessary that Bishak, I am a I am a clinician. I don't need to commit my time for studies. It is not like that. Bishak means he should be giving equal importance to learning as well as clinical practice, because whatever is learned is to be implemented in practice, and whatever is implemented in practice is to be subjected to learning and relearning, unlearning and relearning constantly. So they are mutually complementary to each other, learning and practice. So that is what is called adhyayanam. So adhyabana should have adhyayana also as a compulsory part, which is lacking today, what I feel in my um, what you call surrounding world, what I observe, academic world, what I observe is this. Shamam adhyanam chaiva sugha eva nishevade. Then it is called sugha, anukula vedaniyam sugham. We feel well-being, pleasure from within. So these qualities are lacking today. What is all these negative emotions are happening in faculties, not only in faculties, but when they happen in faculties, they will be transmitted to students. Just like in the home is the first school. Whatever parents are doing, whatever parents are telling, speaking, that will be impacting their children. And when they go to school, second home is school or college, wherever, let it be professional or other colleges, whatever it be, whatever faculties are doing will be impacting students a lot. Being student, you can very well relate to what I'm speaking, right? So the thing
Yes,
is that
ma'am.
when faculties are teaching, they should be conveying their lives as message to students. How a scientific practitioner is intended to be in life, not only with regard to practice, but with regard to qualities in life, innate qualities in life. What are the innate qualities in life? That also explained in is Ayurvedic science. Dashavidha, Dashavidha Pabhas are mentioned in the science. Many ethical aspects are discussed in the science. So they are not for mere learning and reading and just passing out. They are to be inculcated in the lives of every physician. And every physician and set themselves as an example in their lives. How a physician is intended to be, how a faculty is intended to be. They are to be honest. They are to be honest. They are to work hard. Whatever they are not able to know, they should be able to look inward. They should be able to, when they should encourage students to ask questions. They should constantly encourage students to. I get very disappointed when I am not getting questions in the class. It's very, very sad for a genuine faculty when nobody is asking any questions. We feel that either they have not understood anything or they have understood everything. But how can we confirm that they have understood everything? So it is not like that. You have to ask questions. Asking questions is mandatory. So this part is missing, and there are negativity, negative emotions between faculties. All these are happening because Hedor Irshad is not happening. Everybody is thinking of how much money everyone is making, how much fame people are making. All these things, individual, personalized, what you call prejudice is happening. So instead of that, we have to consider that every physician is meant to be of same quality. It cannot happen, but still every physician is to have a standard quality. Need not be same quality, but standard quality should be there. That is what is expected by the society. So if you are not being just and honest to yourself, definitely the society, maybe you will be respected by some ignorant people. Such people may be respected by some ignorant people, but definitely wise people and cultured people and people with refined character, good character, ultimately dharma will only get ultimately success. This is what I believe in and I experience in my life, in my humble life also. Yes, that is all. This is all the message I want to convey.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Same thing I would also like to, she explained it very excellent manner. I would like to add that objective of teacher is to install dharma in the students. Dharma means what is right, righteous things in the science, how to apply and what is to be learned from the colleges. That is what is the dharma of a teacher. So teacher should have the same qualities of a parikshak. Shrudam buddhis mridar dakshyam. Dhridir hita nishevanam. Even his food and activities should be hita. Hita for him as well as he should be a role model to the students. Vag vishuddhihi. What she said was they should be honest. Vag vishuddhihi shamo dhairyam. Shama is peace. Peace of mind comes from, they should have dhamma and the yama. They should have control of their senses and they should be able to regulate their senses. Both are needed. Dhamma and yama are needed. Dhamma is regulating, it's controlling and regulating your indriyas towards hita nishevanam or righteous food and activities, righteous things which are to be practiced in the society. All these are to be regulated, then only peace of mind happens. So basically they should be sattvic. Sattvikam, shaucham, astikyam, shukla dharma ruchir matihi. They should be always attached to dharma and not to karma and money. They should be attached to dharma, then dharma, through dharma they should get money, not directly attached to the money. So karma should be based on dharmas, and that all those are mentioned as qualities of pariksha, but everything is applicable to a teacher also. Adhyanam also to be continued, adhyapanam, tadvidya sambhasha, everything should be done. Along with that, they should have thridi Hita Nishevanam, Vag Visuddhi, Shamu, Thairyam. All these are how you are culturing your intellect or manas. So, raga, controlling raga. It is not suppressing raga or irsya. So, for suppressing, you need not do anything. You just suppress and keep everything in your mind. But acharyas have told that you should be regulating. For regulation, you need to culture your mind in a sattvic way. If you are not culturing, you will be suppressing only. That will manifest as himsasteya, manyata, kamam, paishunyam, all these dashavitha papas. Or they will be having somatic diseases like hypertension and other adrenaline will increase in them and they will be having different diseases. So instead of that, one should culture their intellect with sattvic activities and food, everything. Everything should be, they should become the role model to society as well as to the students.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Very wonderfully explained by both of you. And so, with that, we will move to the Samhita related questions. So, my first question is why we need to study Samhita in BMS when we are already studying subject-wise syllabus for all the shloka from different Samhita. Am I audible?
Can you repeat that question, Sangeeta? Last part was missing.
Yeah. Why we need to study Samhita in BMS when we already studying subject-wise in syllabus which cover all the shloka from different Samhitas?
Okay, actually, it's a very relevant question. If you are learning Samhita means you are learning Charaka especially separately, right? Charaka is the only Samhita you are learning as a subject, right? Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
In
ma'am.
second year and third year.
Yeah.
Third
Every
year.
learning Charaka Samhita, but I don't think there is a subject called Ashtanga Sangraha or Susruta as a separate paper. Only Charaka is mentioned.
No, ma'am.
And still, why that discrimination is done? Because every Brihatrayis are equally important Samhitas. We cannot say that Charaka is better. Charakas to Chigilsidam Acharya, it is mentioned that Charakas to Chigilsida. In Chigilsa, Charaka is, but we cannot consider like that because there are treatment principles in medical diseases. Treat the diseases which are to be managed medically. That treatment principles and diagnostic principles are mentioned in Ashtanga Sangraha and Susruta as well. Okay, but Charaka is elaborating it more. Maybe we can say like that, but still, what is required to be learned from the Samhitas? What is expected to be attained by learning Samhitas? Ultimately, learning Samhita means Samhita is Shastra. Samhita is Aptavachana. Apta hi avitarka smriti vibhaga vido nishpriti ubadapadarshanash. So Aptavachana is not expert opinion, mere expert opinion. It is done after continuous research, basic and applied research. Pariksha ghet, bhaguvidam pariksha hedubir sadhayitva. Tapyade nirnayaha, siddhantas, algorithms, principles, tattvas. All these things, what you call vidhi niyamas, all these are mentioned in the Shastra in these three, mainly these three Brihatrayis. So why we are learning it is meant to culture the application of medicine as well as surgery in practice. That is the ultimate objective of learning Samhitas. Samhitas are the scientific basement for practice in Ayurveda. The scientific substratum for scientific practice in Ayurveda is Samhita. There is no doubt. There is nothing beyond Samhitas which can be called as science in Ayurveda. Because science means knowledge, scientia. Science is derived from the term scientia, which means knowledge. Knowledge means jnana, and application of knowledge is vijnana. So, science incorporates those knowledge, principles, theorems, what we learn in physics, chemistry, biology in schools. They are science. No, we are learning theory. We are going to practical lab and we are verifying what we are doing. We are verifying. We are not doing trial and error in biology lab. We are not doing trial and error in physics lab. We are not doing trial and error in chemistry lab. What we are doing, we are learning it first. First, we have to learn the theory part properly. We have to learn the laws, fundamental principles, whatever it be. And then we are verifying it in the labs or in the practical session. What we are doing is verifying the science in the lab. Same way, Ayurveda is also a deterministic. What is a deterministic science means? It is not led by maybe, may not be, could not be. It is not like that. Whatever is explained, it is like mathematics. That is why there are no theories in Ayurveda. There are only theorems, laws, and principles in Ayurveda, which are proven and established. It is mentioned in Shastra, no? Heduvir sadhayitva stapyade nirnayaha. Nirnayaha means confirmed. It is established with confirmation. That kind of science is called as deterministic science, determinism. So in deterministic science, we should be learning first the scientific part, how, what, when, where, why. All these are explained in Shastra and Shastra Arthas. Through Shastra Arthas, we are understanding the Shastra. Shastra means everything is written, but Shastra Arthas means how to understand that Shastra. That is what is crucial. We have to understand Shastra in the right manner. Otherwise, many people will have different yukti, right? The same thing will be viewed by different people in different aspects. But the same thing will be remaining the same thing at one time. It will not change in at one time. I mean, it will be in one form only or one status only, but it will be misinterpreted by many people. Why I am calling it misinterpreted? Because there can be contradictory interpretations made by different people. That is not a criterion of deterministic science. That's why Acharya told Jnana Purva Karma, Tada Karma Bishat Paschat, Jnana Purvam Samajare. So first, Jnana through Samhidas. So Samhidas are our evidence, inbuilt evidences. We should have two evidences. So it is not like when Jwara is taken, certain aspects of Jwara we are learning from Charaka, but Sushruta mentioned some other aspects. Ashtanga Sangraha mentioned some other aspects which is not mentioned in Charaka or Ashtanga Hridaya. For example, even Rasa Karmas. When you are taking Rasa Karmas, Ashtanga Hridaya is mentioning it very concisely. But when you check Ashtanga Sangraha, more explanations are even for Adiyoga Vigaras. I will ask my students to learn Ashtanga Sangraha because it explains more Rasa Karmas and Adiyoga Vigaras. So every text has got, and it is explained in a scattered manner. It is not like except in the condition of disease wise. Yes, Jwara, everything is mentioned in Jwara context. But when you are approaching a patient of Jwara, many things are mentioned in Rakta Pitta Adhyaya. Sometimes it will be explained in the Sarvaroga Nidana. How you are to, sometimes Sarvaroga Nidana diagnostic principles will be applied in Jwara, right? Or in Shobha. Treatment principles will be explained in Dravya thought led by Nigandus. But how to apply will be based on Susruta. Sometimes it will be by Susruta Sutrasthana, 35th chapter, where Guna Sneha Mardava Krit Snigdo Belavarna Karastada, Yukshastat Viparidasya Visheshat, Sthambanogara. So when we are choosing Upaya, we should know. Upaya is mentioned in Charaka, how to, like what is the significance of Upaya? It is mentioned in Charaka Vimanasthana. So when we are learning practice of medicine, diagnosis and treatment, we cannot say that Charaka is the best for diagnosis and treatment. So instead of making Samhita, one Samhita into curriculum, what is required is the portions in the curriculum, equal distribution should be given, equal importance should be given for all Samhitas and corresponding references, corresponding evidences are relevant to the context of explaining that particular situation. That is to be wisely chosen by the faculties and taught. Every Samhita shlokas with regard to Jwara has to be learned, with regard to Rakta Pitta has to be learned, with regard to Dravya Guna has to be learned. What is mentioned regarding Gunas, regarding Prabhava, you should learn Charaka Susruta and Ashtanga Sangraha. That is important. And finally, when you come to application, there should be practicals for these subjects. Dravya Guna Vijnana, Roga Nidana, Haishaja Kalpana, everything should have, even Kriya Sharira, Rachana Sharira, everything should have practicals. Then only we can translate what you are learning in these Samhitas into patients and show them, show the students. See, this principle I have applied here. Now you just wait and see what is happening in the patient. You note down that principle and study. You note down which context I have taught you this. My diagnosis is this. You understand that how I made this diagnosis based on the rational standards of science. I didn't guess something and do. I have adopted these standards from the science and I have applied them and made this diagnosis. And why I have chosen this medicine, I am analyzing all the aspects of choice of medicine, Bheshja Tattva, Rogatna Tattva, and Bheshja Karma, Rogatna Karma, and Doshatna Karma. All the three have analyzed, and I have chosen this particular yoga or single herb, whatever it is. So I have to teach you like a mathematical way in Dravyaguna OPD. There should be OPD for all Ayurveda subjects. So you will be knowing Ashtanga Sangraha, this diagnostic principle, Charaka, this treatment principle, or Susruta, that differential diagnosis is mentioned in Susruta. So with regard to patient, you will be able to analyze every aspect. It's not like Charaka mugging up some shlokas. Is there any practical for Charaka Samhita?
No, ma'am.
Then what for? You are learning to become a temple priest by worshipping and doing pujas with Charaka Samhita shlokas in patients. I mean, in the deity, you are to become a temple priest by learning Charaka Samhita. If you are learning Charaka Samhita, you should know the sensible application. See, it is your right. It's your fundamental right. You are not mere jokers. You should understand that you are not mere jokers. You are not specimens. Students are not specimens. Some experimentation. See, even experimentation is not happening in Ayurveda. A Jambavan syllabus or one primitive syllabus is implemented today. Before 70 years syllabus, no changes. When you add biostatistics, it doesn't make that the science will get updated or the teaching gets updated. It's not like that. There are so many things we have to reform. Culture, students, intelligence is to be cultured in the knowledge and practice of science-based medicine. For that, every subject must include all the samhitas. No doubt in that. There should be a systematic way of training in OPDs and IPDs also. That's all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Actually, whatever you are learning in theory, it should be in practicals also, right? So when you are learning Charaka as a separate thing, you will not be knowing its practical aspects. When you are learning with other subjects, you will be doing its practical also. But when you are learning this thing alone, and many chapters are not complete also, as in Nidhanasthana. So only 8 chapters are mentioned. When we are to learn, we should learn from Sarvaroga Nidhana. In Ashtanga Hridaya or Ashtanga Sangraha, they have made it updated. Punaruktadi Varjita. Vistara Akshepa Punaruktadi Varjitaha. Ashtanga Sangraha is without elaborating so much or without making it brief so much and without Punarukti. Ashtanga Sangraha has made it very specific and according to the various shakas, various branches. So, Yuganurupa Sandarbho, he has made it updated. Yuganurupa Sandarbho and Vipagena Karishyade in a very systematic manner. So, when we are adopting something, it should be completely supportive to that subject. Right. So, when we are learning Nidhanasthana, it is not complete. But we will be forcefully learning Charaka itself. Many of the Nidhanas are mentioned in Charaka Chikitsa also. We are lacking that. When we are learning Nidhanasthana alone, we will not be getting the picture of Roga as well as we will not be learning the Samhidas also. So it is waste of time. If you are to learn Samhidas, you have to start from Samhidas in the first year itself. Throughout the syllabus, it should be based on the Samhidas. It's not like you are making it subject wise and making Charaga Samhita a separate paper. So that will not make any sense, or that will not do what is intended. Charaka Samhita is some more excess explanations are there, and you can learn more deeply each subject with Charaka Samhita in PGs. So it is not that much sensible to learn Samhitas. So you will be diverted. Problem is learning Samhita is good, but the objective of learning Shastra will not be accomplished with this.
That's the
That is what I wanted to add. Yeah.
That's the
Thank
main
you,
problem. So
sir.
you don't know where to relate. Like many shlokas are there regarding one point, but you don't know what ultimately patient is seen and something else is prescribed. So you don't know how to bring these. Translational medicine is very important. What you are learning in theory should be translated into practice. Then only you can call it a science. Otherwise, no science.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, our next question to you was, so why Charak Samhita has been given more importance in BMS and not other Samhitas? But I think that you answered it very well in the previous question itself. So I'll move on to the next question. So my next question to you is that is Samhita learning not an interference to the practice of biostatistical evidence-based practice of medicine?
Yeah, definitely. This is one important question. So today, why this biostatistics? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Why biostatistics is considered as important today in medical practice? Before there was no evidence-based medicine. Just before 25 years or 30 years, in modern medicine, evidence-based medicine came because they were thinking there should be some substratum evidence to what you call to validate their practice. What they are doing is backed by certain proof of certain benefit risk. So for that, they have brought data into practice. Data means what your observations in the community population, what they are giving. They are starting with unknown compound. They are giving it in a population, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. First, they will study toxicity, then in animals, then in human volunteers. And what they are studying is whether the drug, particular unknown compound will mask, block, suppress, or alter any molecules, enzymes, or directly supplementing something, some chemicals into the body. Like that. It's not like reversing pathology or anything. Reversing pathology is not a concept in modern medicine. They are telling disease modifying drugs, control, sugar control, BP control, like that. So their science, attitude and approach is different. So when you are trying to mask, block, suppress, alter, etc., definitely it can produce benefits and risk only. Some moments, some benefits will be seen, which can be interchanged to risk also anytime. So they wanted to prove that no, they are having some evidence of more benefit and less risk. That is why biostatistics became the main golden standard of modern medical research. They wanted that very badly because they must tell that we have data to validate our practice. Okay, that is fine. Their science is not deterministic science. Their medical system, I mean medicine, application of medicine is not led by a deterministic science. I told you what is deterministic science before. Deterministic science means innate logics are there, which explain what, why, how, when, where, cause, mechanism, effect relationship will be explained, will be established in deterministic sciences. But as their medicine, their medical administration, drugs, is not supported by a deterministic science, they are going for backing of probabilistic data. They are giving unknown compound, randomized control trial became the golden standard. They are giving it in a random population, verifying benefit risk, counting benefit risk, publishing in peer review journals, and calling it as science. That's what they are doing. So, but in Ayurveda, it is not this. See, two things are there. If you want to practice Ayurveda in a scientific manner, scientific practice of Ayurveda is not probabilistic benefit risk counting method. Because Acharya told very correctly that Tadheva Yuktam Vaishajyam Yadarogyaya Kalpade. He didn't tell benefitaya Kalpade. He didn't say no. He told very specifically Ashuddha Chikitsa is to be avoided. You should be practicing when you are treating one roga and another roga or another pathology is developing. It is what is called Ashuddha Chikitsa. And that should be completely prevented as much as possible by scientific practice. And second thing, blinding means it is an unscientific method in Ayurveda. Acharya told Yadrucha Siddhi, Vina Tarkena Ya Siddhi, Yadrucha Siddhi Revacha. So if you are administering some medicine without any reason, without any logical reasoning, if you are giving some compound and you are blindly observing a population and collecting benefit risk, it is Yadrucha Siddhi. So, and Yadrucha Siddhi is something which is to be abandoned by the physician. Don't call it as scientific. So, it is very clear that that is the problem in deterministic sciences and probabilistic medical sciences. So, when you are applying, you have to decide. You students, you are the next generation. You have to decide, and we also, we are already thinking and we are reaching conclusion, but you have to start thinking whether you want to do data-oriented probabilistic games and publish and call Ayurveda science. If you call 1,000 times science also, it will not become science because you are not doing diagnosis and treatment led by science. And where is this diagnosis and treatment based on? It is entirely based on Shastra, Artha, Karma, and Shilanena, Samskurveda Prajnam. So you are not doing that. So if you want to do biostatistical, why you are doing that? What for you are doing biostatistical research? You are to prove the drugs for benefit risk. You are to develop new compounds for treating COVID-19. New compounds are required. We are not treating by medicine. We are treating by logics. Ayurveda is science-based medicine. That's why Acharya told, Tadak karmam vishyak paschat jnana purva. JPK, jnana purva karma. It's not like data purva karma. So when you are applying a medicine, it should be chosen based on science. It should be applied based on science. So in such a condition, when you are learning biostatistics, you are fooling yourself. You are fooling yourself because you don't know whether in the paper you are going to apply biostatistical reports. In modern medicine, what they are supposed to do is they are to read the journals. Every day they are supposed to read the updated information regarding drugs because their drug is changing. Yesterday's drug, when they analyze that more risk have emerged, they will discard them and emerge new drugs. So their updation means changing drugs because more risk happened, former drugs will be discarded, new drugs and interventions will emerge, again based on benefit risk. So, but our approach, our attitude, our analysis, our results, our expectations, our interventions, everything is not to be done based on this probabilistic gaming. So when you are doing biostatistics, you should discard science. You should decide. You should discard Ayurvedic science and start learning biostatistics. You learn, you give Maharasnadi Kashaya, Charirasnadi Kashaya, may analyze benefit risk and decide. You see the reports, why to learn Charaka, Susuda, etc. This Samhita discussion itself not required. You can discuss biostatistics, how to understand the reports, how to publish these drug-oriented studies, benefit risk, whether Maharasnadi is better than Charirasnadi in Vada Shonida. It is not Vada Shonida. There is no this medicine in that disease in Ayurveda. You are treating patient with that particular status. So again, you cannot emerge one medicine in a disease and tell that, wow, we have a scientific medicine for this medicine, this disease. You cannot call like that. So you people have to decide whether you have to practice statistical medicine or whether you have to practice scientific medicine. You must ask yourself, what is the relevance and necessity of practicing, but learning and practicing, because it is a topic in your syllabus now. You are not learning anything about Ayurvedic research methodology. Are you learning anything? Pariksha Tattvas? No.
No, ma'am.
So which means what? You are getting fooled by yourself. You are to become an Ayurveda physician means you should be knowing Ayurvedic scientific methodology, clinical methodology, research methodology. This is not happening. And evidence-based medicine in Ayurveda is completely led by science-based medicine. It is not fooling games, being like maybe, may not be. It's not like that. Ayurveda evidence-based practice means Jnana Purva Karma, science-based medicine application. Are you taught that? Are you taught that? Are you demonstrated that? That is the question. If it is not happening, rest you have to analyze and tell back. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, biostatistics is exactly opposite to what is mentioned in Samhitas. That was your question. Their specific observations are made as data and it is made as science. In our science, it is exactly opposite. There are general principles, laws and principles which we are applying in specific situations. Purusham Vikshya Satyayo Bishag Uttamaha. Initially you told, Sangeeta. Yoga Masantu Yo Vidya Desha Kalopapadidam Purusham Vikshya. So in specific conditions, Aprapte va Kriya Kale. Prapte tu na kriyade kriya. Or Kriya Hina Adiriktava. Sadhyeshu abhi na siddhyadi. So Aprapta Kale va kriyade kriya. If not in exact status. So we need to analyze the patient as well as the stage of the disease, which we have been explaining before. So stage of the disease, if it is not according to that, if a kriya is given or when kriya time has reached and you are not doing that kriya karma or kriya hina atiriktava, if it is hina or atirikta, sadhyeshu abhi na siddhyati. So you will not get the intended result or siddhi. You will not attain. So, Ayurvedic science is exactly opposite to what biostatistics is mentioned. So, it is no way related to Samhidas or Ayurvedic science. It should be
in Siddhisthana, it is mentioned a very clear reference. Sarvam cha roga prashamaya karmam. Hinadi matram viparita kalam. Mithyopajaracha natam vikaram shantim nae pathyam abhiprayuktam. Same as what sir told now. Sarvam cha roga prashamaya karmam. All the treatments which are intended to reverse diseases. Hina adi matram viparita kalam. If it is administered in excess dose or low dose or viparita kalam, wrong state and stage of the subject and the disease. Mithyopajaracha natam vikaram shantim nae pathyam abhiprayuktam. Even if you are administering it the wrong way, you are choosing it in the wrong way, whatever. And mithya upajara of the patient, anything, any of these happen, shantim nae pathyam, na shantim nae, it will not alleviate the disease, even if you are administering in pathya. So matra kala ashraya yukti, siddhir yukto pradishtida, ishtati very yuktitya, and samyak prayogam sarvesham siddhirapnodi karmanam. Samyak prayogam, optimized application. It is not randomized application. It is optimized application, yukti jnana, all the components. That is producing siddhi. Our treatment is meant to attain siddhi. Siddhi means intended result. Siddhi is not benefit risk. It is intended result in intended time, in intended status.
Thank you, ma'am, sir. And that we have answered that कि हमें theory सिखाई जाती है but practical नहीं सिखाया जाता. We have got theory but we have not OPD or IPD level because we are talking in classroom. We are not applying that as it is in OPDs and IPDs level. Right? So with that only, I was having a question that yes, theory and practicals are different. Nowadays, the teachers say that the theory which you learn in classroom is entirely different to the practical. the practice. So, like, am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
you can.
So, so like we have given a very different sthana. So, what is the importance of different sthana which are mentioned? Like, what is the importance of Kriya sthana? Like that rest of the sthana, because when a suppose a patient is coming with cough and a physician is prescribing Sukhaladi, and without suggesting pathya and without assessing Vidana, so then why it is important? Why the different sthana is important? Why not only Chikitsa sthan we can study, right? So this was my question. Am I audible?
What you mentioned is answer is also in your question itself, right? Yeah. So it should be always as explained that Roga status, Rogi status, how to choose medicine based on what principle, and if you are choosing that medicine and diet and regimen also, how to apply. So all these are very important. So you cannot blindly say that it's entirely different from. It is based on Purvam Aptopadesha Jnanam. What she said was Jnana Purva Karma. So whatever dosha we are assessing is based on Aptopadesha Jnana. We are assessing the status based on Aptopadesha Jnana. Upadeshas, Adeshas, Nirdeshas, everything is there with which we are identifying which Siddhanta is applicable, which principle we have to apply there, which theorem is applicable in this situation. And we are doing Pratyaksha, Anumana, and based on everything based on Aptopadesha Jnana, and finally reaching a conclusion that this treatment principle is to be applied, and how to apply Upaya is again determined based on Yukti. So Yukti is with all these causes, this disease has developed. With all these causes, we can reverse this pathology. So such knowledge is, so we need to culture so much with the science, and we need to culture the application continuously, and we need to continuously learn also. With that only we will be able to culture our intellect, then only we will be able to apply the basic principles from text to clinics.
That culture should be promoted by, it should be stimulated by students. Students should start asking questions in the OPD. Then only it will start. That culture will initiate only with students. I don't think faculties will change. Students can change. So students should ask questions. How, on what basis this diagnosis is done, and how this treatment is chosen. As I told in the previous session, this should happen. Then only changes can be expected.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Exactly what you have said, and the brief structural framework which you have made for Samita learning, so that the culture, I mean, the things which have to be cultured in students' brain, so that they can ask the question. This conducting the series of this episode wise, the only objective is to culture their brain, so that they can ask the relevant question, and not like जो परंपरा चलती आ रही है, we have to break that in order to upgrade our curriculum. So you both have very nicely given the framework structure for the significance of Samitas. With that, I guess the time is 8:25. We will wind up today, and in next episode we will discuss on third year curriculum, like Sattvavrita and other subjects.
Ma'am, I would like to interrupt. There are a few questions from the audience itself. So can we take just one question from the audience and then wind up, or we can directly wind up with this session?
Up to you to decide. I'm okay with one question, no problem.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, so this question is from Neha Shukla, second year BMS student from Indore. She is asking that what is the significance of Mahakashay Dashimani in our college? We all learn this and directly we give this to the patient by making formulation of that.
Means one gana, the Shemanis are mentioned. So what she means is one gana, all the medicine, dravyas will be mixed and kashaya will be made. Like that.
Yes, ma'am, like that.
So like Dibaniya means all the
That chapter itself, in that chapter itself, in the end, it is mentioned that Buddhimadam tu udaharana matrameva. Mandabuddhir yadhokta anusaranameva shrestha. So, if they are not able to think so much, they can take from this, or if they are buddhiman, or they are able to apply in practically, if they are able to apply, they can modify this Dishya Aneya Soya Muheda Buddhiman. He can think in another way also, in all other aspects also, and he can modify this Deshemani or whatever is needed according to the status of the patient. So this is just for Mandabuddhi. Mandabuddhi is not patient deprived of mental ability. It is grading is done. That those who have very good intelligence, those who have moderate intelligence, and those who are not able to have that thinking capacity like others is Mandabuddhi. What is mentioned is Mandabuddhir yadhokta anusaranam eva shrestha. So they can follow what is mentioned in the Dashimani and apply directly. So that is what is given in that chapter itself.
It's not like every Deshemani, all the dravyas are to be mixed and one kashaya is to be made. It's not like that. I think what she told is that only. Like for example, Pipali Mula, Chavya Chitra Shringavera, Amlaveda Samarja, Bhalata Hingu Nidyas Chedi. If one person is making Deepaniya Kashaya with all the dravyas, it is not the way. It is not. It is like many dravyas which are predominant. There are Amla dravyas and Kadu dravyas in Dibaniya Dashimani Gana. Right? Amla Vetasa is there. And most of the dravyas are Kadu dravyas only. So it is not like all the dravyas are mixed together and one kashaya is to be made and it is to be administered for Deepana. But when you are doing Deepana Karma, Deepana Ubaya in a patient, you can choose these dravyas wisely based on that. Sabnya Stabana is there, Praja Stabana is there, Vedana Stabana is there. So understanding the Bheshaja Karmas through dravyas and exemplified through dravyas, that is what is done in these Dashemani Ganas. It is not like all dravyas in a particular Gana is to be made as a Kashaya and it is to be administered. That is not the way. It is just Bheshaja Karmas and exemplified through particular dravyas which are having predominant particular Bheshaja Karma like Deepaniya, Bhedaniya. If you want to do Bhedana Ubaya in a patient, you can think of Kadugi because it is mentioned in Bhedaniya Dashemani. So like that, you can choose some other dravya also depending on the condition of that patient. It is that which is conveyed through that. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am and sir.
Thank you. So right now, we that have enlightened this topic, and we hope that they both will enlighten us in next episode also. So thank you very much, sir and ma'am, with your wonderful knowledge you have given us today.
We are trying our best. Keep learning, keep motivating. It's not that we are ultimate people sitting over the diaries and explaining things. Don't. We are not students. We are also disciples of Ayurvedic science. We are also striving hard to make a change in the scientific scenario.
Thank you both for the wonderful session.
Thank you, sir and ma'am. Thank you so much.
So right now we are signing that.